in business communication.
Okay.
And in business communication, it just shows you like the different types of communication and how businesses communicate. So first slide, types of business communication. In a business organization, there are three types of communication. One is verbal. I forgot to change this, but this is supposed to be visual communication and written communication. So these are the three main types of communication. The first type of communication is verbal, as in I'm conveying information through words. Like right now, conveying information about my presentation through words, and it's working. Kind of. The advantages of verbal communication is that speedy form of communication, as in, like if I write something and give it to you, you guys will have to read it, and some people will skip through it, they won't fully understand it. That's why it's speedy, because I'm speaking to you and you're understanding it. I can even get your feedback for it, which moves on to the next point, immediate feedback. You guys can give me feedback if something is wrong, something needs to be changed, or whatever you want. And information is conveyed clearly. So basically, what this means, conveyed clearly, as in if I'm saying something and you don't understand, you can ask me, that's feedback. But I can resolve it by saying it in clearer words, like in simpler terms. That's how you can say it is clearly conveyed information. Disadvantages of verbal communication. The disadvantages is like in a big meeting, like if this was a full class, a lot of people in the back would be on their phone, they wouldn't be listening, it wouldn't be nice. So you don't know if they're actually listening or if they're just pretending to be. When permanent record is needed, for example, warning an employee, the verbal communication method is not appropriate. So let's say dress code. Someone who is in an office cannot wear like pajamas, a normal shirt, a normal jacket. They have to wear formal clothes, formal clothing, because that's where the office people work. It's a professional area, so you have to wear professional clothes. So if the employee is not wearing the clothes properly, there should be a written form that should be submitted to the employee stating this is a warning, please don't do this again. If you just say it, just forget it in like the next 5 minutes. You will fish memory. And the third one is verbal communication. There can be an error if there was a language barrier, if a person doesn't know the language. तो अगर मैं उर्दू में बात करने लगूँ, तो फिर लोगों को पता नहीं चलेगा कि मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ. They won't understand what I'm saying.
Exactly, different countries.
Exactly, different countries, different languages. If there was an Emirati here, or if there was like a South Indian here, or anyone who doesn't speak Urdu or Hindi, they will not understand. Samajh mein aayega. So that is another disadvantage, language barrier. Examples of verbal communication. So, having a conversation with someone, and I wrote in brackets, formal or informal. As in, formal can be like this, like I'm standing straight, my back is straight, everything is straight, and I'm conveying you the information. This is normal. But if it was informal, it would be like using a lot of slurs, a lot of jargon words, and basically an informal setting, meaning you're talking with your friends or mates. A presentation. This is also a type of verbal communication that I'm explaining to you. Or having a phone call with someone. Earlier today, I was having a phone call with Adam and conveying him information on what to do if he's not here. Then next is visual communication. If you see my first slide, it said non-verbal. I didn't know much about it, so I used visual. So excuse that mistake. Visual communication is the type of communication that uses diagrams, charts, and videos to convey a message. So, what do you mean by visual communication in general? Visual means like you're seeing stuff. It's visually a picture. So like that you're conveying the information. The advantages of this is that it's easy to follow. Like if it's a video, you can watch it anytime, anywhere. If it's a diagram, you can view it and you can have it as reference. Anytime, anywhere. The audience feel more engaged. So if I show you like a pie chart or bar graph, you'll be more engaged because you will be like attracted to it. Because you'll be like, okay, so this is how you make a pie chart of a bar graph, and this is what our company is doing and what our company isn't doing. Like what is going right and what is going wrong. And it's easier to explain or put things into perspective. So if I tell you that the business XYZ has this much amount of profit, 52%, and this much is profit sharing rate, 20%, and 30% this, 30% that. So it'll be hard for me to convey, like put into perspective what it means. So if I make like a pie chart, that will show you how much of the profit is going where and who's getting it. Disadvantages of visual communication. There is no feedback, so sender to employee, other types of communication to know the message has been understood. So for my first part of communication, which was verbal. So in the verbal communication, you can give me the feedback because I'm giving one-on-one. But if it's on a video or something, the comment on that video might not go through. There's no instant feedback, and you'll have to wait for the feedback. So yeah, easier to lose focus. If I'm giving you a pie chart, you'll be just in a world of your own, because there'll be a lot of numbers, there'll be a lot of diagrams, there'll be a lot of things, and you'll be lost in it, and you lose focus. Because the more you focus, the narrower your vision gets. The diagram or graphs may not be clearly understood by the employees or the audience. So let's say we all are educated here, but if we bring like social workers or workers who work like on the street and bring them in and tell them that this is the thing, this is the pie chart, this is what this is doing, and we would like to employ it, they wouldn't know because it's hard for them to understand. They wouldn't clearly know what is happening or what to do. Examples of visual communication is simple. Pie charts, infographics, diagrams. You can also choose videos or other sorts of examples, but to keep it short, I gave only 3. Written communication. This is a type of communication that sends a message to the receiver by issuing like a circular, a form, like Google Forms, instruction manuals, like if you buy a car, it will get like an owner's manual to know what each button does or how to use a function. Memos, so that you can post on a post-it note, and stick it on your desk, have it for later, or save it for later. Advantages of written communication. So, written communication, it is hard evidence that a message has been sent to the receiver. So, in my first example I gave you for my verbal communication, that if an employee is wearing inappropriate clothes to the workplace, it's not formal. So written communication is hard evidence that we said this to you and you should apply to it. And you should not disagree with it. You should abide by it. A written message can be copied and sent to many people. So let's say in mail, you can just do one person, BCC, to another person, and another person, and another person. So it can be copied and pasted to all the other people. Or if you have it on a paper, you just photocopy it and give it to other people. It can be easily copied. If the message is complicated, the receiver can know what the message was about. So let's say you are a factory worker and I'm a factory manager. I give you production number, I give you number of materials, I give you amount of profit we're going to make if you produce this much, and just give you the basic information about the goods and products and also services. So all those numbers, it'll be difficult for receiver, like the factory worker, to understand. So if you write it on a paper and then give it to him, he'll have like a reference to refer to. Like this is the amount of raw material, this is the amount of profit we're going to make, this is what's going to happen, that will happen next. So the disadvantages of written communication. So direct feedback is not always possible. Yes, like piece of paper you're going to give to someone with like some jargon scribbled onto it. That's what basically written communication is. So feedback is not instantly possible because like you'll give a piece of paper to them, they'll understand and jobs are over. It is not easy to check if the message has been received or acted upon. So back in the day when we used to send mail, we might send to the wrong address, so we don't know if they received it or not. This is back when we didn't have telephones or any type of device to convey a message. So we didn't know like if it's been received, if it's like been acted upon, or what is happening. If the message is too long and confusing, the reader can he might just ignore it or get confused with it. So this basically means if it's like a long paragraph of just rules and regulations and just regular jargon, like laws, you just skim through it. You'll not read every single word. You'll read every two, every three words. So that is what I mean by this concept of written communication. And the examples of written communication are reports. You're reporting to someone. Text messages, you're texting someone. Notices, like on the bulletin board, you might have seen like back in school or something. Notices, an email, just mail it to someone. That's also a form of written communication. And here's my presentation. 14 slides. Presentation by